Joining me now, Congressman Dave Taylor, and the issue on the table, one that we're going to keep the heat on, uh, road safety. In this case, CDLs, English proficiency requirements, the need for enforcement, the continued almost daily tragedies that we're hearing about, whether fatal or otherwise, especially when it comes to the long haul trucks, the big rigs. And in this case, the Trump administration taking some action against the state of California, withholding $40 million over the English proficiency rules. Congressman Dave Taylor from Ohio's 2nd District, sir, good to have you here. First, to your take on the need for English proficiency and the need for some form of, I hate to use the term, catch-up enforcement.
Absolutely, David. Thanks for having me on. First of all, it's an honor to be with you. This is a common sense rule. I haven't talked to anybody that doesn't think it's wise for people driving 80,000-pound vehicles on our roads to be able to read and speak English. It was a rule on the book since the 1930s that should be the case. The problem we're facing now is that rule has been defanged under the Obama administration. So basically, if you get pulled over in a big rig and you can't read or speak English, they give you a ticket like they had pulled you over for a broken taillight or something and send you on your way. The unsafe condition is nothing's done to prevent it from continuing. And as you said, we've had tragedy after tragedy. Where on the news this morning was the most recent death of 3 people in a fatal crash with another. They haven't determined his linguistic abilities yet, but I won't be surprised if that's part of the problem as well. But Connor's law it just closes that loophole. It takes trucks out of service that are driven by people that have no business on the road and are making other people unsafe.
You're out of session right now, and I've spoken to a number of your fellow Congress members, your House members, on this issue. But when you return, we have the actions taken by the Department of Transportation under Sean Duffy, and that's good. We start at least with the money component of that. You control the purse strings. Look, we can separate state and federal and not have overreach from the federal government. Do you think there is a way that the House, and it would require Senate Republicans, obviously, to be part of this, but that the Republicans can improve on legislative and regulatory requirements and punishments where they have the ability under Department of Transportation or under the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration?
Well, that would be the quick thing, but it's again, it'll be easily changed back. Is my concern, just as it was done under Obama in 2016. We're hoping.
That's Congressman, if I may interject. That's why my question is really about the regulation and the legislation. Can you do something to put that in legislation and therefore without an expiration date of 10 years or a non-expiring legislation that strengthens the regulations within the boundaries of the federal government? Of course, you have to realize, and we do, I know you do, that the states control issuance.
Yeah, we're hoping because we're on the eve of getting to work on the surface reauthorization bill. We're hoping we can make it part of that, make it permanent. I mean, it's a really hard thing to argue against, and even I'm all for lack of federal overreach, but if you can make this rule apply strictly to interstate highways, you would curb a lot of this problem because, as you said, these are mostly semis that are going great distances generally, and they have to use the highway. So that would be a great enforcement arm without digging too deep into the states' rights to regulate themselves.
Yeah, and look, along the way, we can. I see the potential for working with the Republican governors. Fortunately, we have a slim, but the majority of states have Republican governors, possibly working, obviously, with the Republican attorney generals to make sure that states are in a cooperative and operating process. In a way, build where you can the successes, and if nothing else, it becomes a bit of a way to pull more off the road that will not end up in the liberal states killing Americans.
Right, and actually, I do expect this to get a reasonable amount of bipartisan support based on the folks I've talked to already. It's really a difficult thing to argue against. I mean, I know that maintaining the rights of illegal immigrants seems to be one of the central planks of the Democrat platform, but it's hard to openly say, look, we want unsafe people driving 80,000-pound vehicles on our roads when your vote's being reported. So I think a lot of them will come along, and a lot of them recognize that it's common sense, and they're going to look pretty bad if they don't go along with it. So hopefully it's adopted, by each and every state afterwards for every road within their boundaries. If we can only get the federal legislation on the interstate highways.
Well, start with the money. Every state that does not comply, I don't care if it's even a Republican or more libertarian state, if they don't comply with English proficiency, and we have a problem with both language, the English proficiency requirements, and the unqualified. And something that I hear from a lot of the truckers in my audience. And when you think about the numbers of long haulers in this country, 3.5 million, give or take, you're talking about a significant group and a significant responsibility across our country every minute, day and night, that this needs to be done. This is something that's needed for the industry and for Americans, and also to deal with the trucking schools, some of them that are handing out licenses like candy, and not dissimilar, I guess, from New York State, who hands out no-name listed CDLs.
Right, I saw that. It's absolutely sickening. But to your other point about the sort of diminishing quality of the truck driving we see because of this problem, I've come from a trucking background, and I'm doing a lot of driving back and forth to Washington, D.C. I'm absolutely driving my wife crazy talking about how these truckers are never where they're supposed to be, never doing what they're supposed to do, creating unsafe situations. It's because they're not trained. They don't have the background for it.
Well, Congressman, I know this is a priority for you, for many up there on the Republican side. Hopefully, while in the House, it only requires that majority, which you have. Hopefully, in the Senate, there will be some sanity if required there by some Democrats. But this is an issue that literally affects the person driving down the street, and I don't know, they don't know if they're that next victim.
Right. It's a terrible and easily fixed situation is what's so frustrating.
Thank you. Congressman Dave Taylor from Ohio.
Thank you,
Great
David.
to have you here, sir. Thank you.